Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. We're very glad you're with us. It is March 23rd, 2021. If you have any questions, please just use the chat box to enter any questions you've got. And, well, now it looks like Facebook has died again. So let's see here. Can't tell if Facebook is up and running or not. If you're on Facebook, if you happen to hear this, please just put your questions into the comment field. I am monitoring that feed. For those on Zoom, if you're using a PC or Mac, we ask that you use the speaker view, which is in the lower left-hand corner. That way, and where that red arrow is, you can grab that white line and drag it back and forth so that you can change the aspect ratio of how big and small you want to make the speaker versus the slides. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook, I hope. The recording will be on the Career at FW Facebook page and on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, and if you happen to post a comment in the chat box or have your microphone or camera on, you give consent for your comments, name, and picture to appear. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. I founded Career FW back in 2008 to help the unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started CareerUSA.org to help those outside the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It's available on Amazon. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. And I'll tell you about our speaker and our programming coming up this Friday at the end of this session. Since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, conducting interviews every Wednesday when we were meeting in person. We have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a weekly basis. And the reason I did this is because everybody talks about LinkedIn from a little bit different angle and a little bit different perspective. And hopefully that, when you come back and you listen to the different speakers, you'll pick up one thing and, a couple of things maybe and take it with you. And that's what you'll implement that week. And I know the speakers, sometimes they change up what they talk about and stuff. So 4 outstanding speakers. This week, our speaker is VandeMotter. He's an executive retained recruiter at Linked Executive Search. He's going to talk about LinkedIn from a recruiter's eye. So Kurt, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'll let you go ahead and share the screen so that I can get into my stuff. How are you guys today, everybody? I'm glad that you're here and happy that I can be of a service to everybody. What I'm going to do is go to LinkedIn, and you're going to see what I see when I go to my recruiter. And so LinkedIn, I'm going to go a little slower this time, Jeff, but so this is my LinkedIn page as everybody else's. It shows all kinds of stuff that's going on.
We don't see it yet.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. Go back to this. No. Well, let's see. What did I do wrong, Jeff? Okay, there's that. Okay, share screen. I'm going to go to I go here. And
there we go. Well, now we're seeing Zoom.
Yeah, now you're seeing Zoom, and I'm going to go to LinkedIn.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. I haven't had to do that in a long time, but that's okay. Oh, shucks, guys. I'm sorry. Hold on. That hasn't happened in a long time. And if I could talk and think at the same time, I'd hold on, let's see. Okay, here we go. 820 327 submit. Okay, now you can see that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just my personal page. There's nothing fancy about that. Y'all seen that. Let me start off by saying that first and foremost, this meeting is for you all. It's not for me. I do this every day. So if you've got a question for a recruiter that you've always wanted to ask and you haven't had a chance to ask, or you were on one of our previous seminars, that's something you want to ask or add to the conversation, I'm an open book. So there's many times, as Jeff knows, that I've learned some things from some of the folks on these calls as well. But let me start by talking about recruiting real briefly, because I think that it helps for people to understand what they're, the different kinds of recruiters that there are. So Jeff, there's three kinds of recruiters. There's internal recruiters, and these are going to be people that are working for the company. AT&T's got hundreds of internal recruiters that help fill jobs for the company. Big companies have lots of recruiters. And then there's mid-sized companies, and they may have a recruiter on staff. But there are many, many, many thousands of companies out there that don't have recruiters, or let's say that they do have recruiters, but sometimes they have what we call hard to fill positions, and they want to engage with a recruiter. So there's internal recruiters, and those are the folks that are working for companies that are calling you. And it's important for you to know this, because when you start to engage in a conversation, you can certainly ask, are you an internal recruiter? Are you a retained recruiter? Are you a contingent recruiter? What kind of recruiter are you? And that'll help you understand who they are, what they do, and kind of their motives in some cases. So internal recruiters are pretty simple. They are working for the company. They're generally the people you have to go through to get to hiring managers. If they've posted a position, if the company has posted an open job, then sometimes you're going to have to deal with an internal recruiter. Then there's contingent recruiters, and contingent recruiters work in this fashion. So let's say I own a company and I need a salesperson. I can reach out to a contingent recruiter, and I might reach out to 4 or 5 or 3 contingent recruiters, and all of them will work for me at no cost. And they're all looking for that one candidate to fill that job. And when they fill that job, we've got an agreement that if they bring me the candidate that fills to fill that job, then I will pay them. Generally, the fees for contingent recruiters are somewhere between 20 and 25% of the first year salary, typically. Now, that can be lower than that. It can be higher than that. That's not necessarily something that is of a strong point for you to know, but certainly to let you know that most importantly, they don't get paid anything until they fill that job and fill it with the candidate that gets hired. And then there's retained search executives, and that's what I do. And we get retained by companies. So companies come to us and they pay me a retainer up front to fill the job. And then they pay me a percentage of the first year whole package. And so that's the way that compensation works. Some of the big firms take 33% of the first year package. So if it's a candidate that gets let's say they get $300,000 base, $300,000 bonus, $300,000 in stock, Korn Ferry gets 33% of that entire package. You can do the math and figure it all out. I don't work at that rate. Because I don't think that it's the search business deems that, but certainly those wouldn't be bad numbers if I were to work under that model. So now let's move into recruiter. So this is what I'm about to share with you. Is LinkedIn developed a product a number of years ago, and it's called LinkedIn Recruiter, and it's developed and designed for recruiters. So as we've talked about before, Jeff, what they did is they built this separate set of APIs for LinkedIn Recruiter, and it sits on top of LinkedIn. So if you can imagine, it's got all the hooks that go into LinkedIn, but what is really key for candidates to know and understand is that when I'm using the LinkedIn Recruiter product, you as a candidate cannot see me. You don't have visibility, and I don't show up on your radar anywhere. So if, for instance, you are checking your LinkedIn and you see where people have viewed your profile, if you see where a recruiter has looked at your profile, then you can assume immediately that they're not using the LinkedIn Recruiter product, okay? Because again, you can't see me, there's no visibility, and you'll see why, because I can look at hundreds of profiles in a very short period of time. And if everybody's profile that I looked at called me, I would never get any work done and I'd never be able to service my clients. And so they'll never change that. And that's one of the beauties of it. They give us 100% access to the network and candidates can't see us. So since I have the recruiter product, you can see that it's right up here in the left-hand side or the right-hand side. I click on recruiter and I go to this dashboard that looks like this. So what it's going to do is it's going to show me quickly here. It's going to show me some of the jobs that I've got open. Okay. So it goes through and it shows me some of the companies, director of manufacturing, some of the jobs that I've had open. Okay. But the key that I want to share with you, because that's really just an online tool it's kind of being able to build projects and keep candidates in pools and different candidates is kind of like an applicant tracking system. But what I really want to share with everybody today is what we're going to go through these advanced features up here. So when I want to start a search for an organization, and I'm going to start a live search day because I'm pretty certain that I'm going to get a new piece of business in the Fort Worth area. And so I'm going to go ahead and this is what my dashboard looks like. It's a wide open dashboard. I have the ability to look for all kinds of things. We're going to look at the spotlights first, but then I can search for job titles. I can search for locations. Are they willing to work remotely? I can look for skills and assessment. I can put in company names. I can add colleges that they went to, when they graduated from college, industries they may have worked in, keywords, employment type, full-time, part-time, contract. Are they connected to me? Are they in my first connection, second or third connections? And then I've got all this other stuff that I can check boxes and look for people in different ways, okay? So I told you that I was going to start a search for a company, and it's going to be over in the Fort Worth area. The first thing I'm going to look for is, so this is my total network, 720 million people, total number of candidates that I have access to, probably bigger than that. But I can look at past candidates. I can look at engaged. I'm over here on the left side. Engaged with my talent brand, so they're following me. They're open to work. Many of you that are seeking new opportunities have seen this box already. It's in your it's in your settings section, and it gives you the ability to check the box to tell recruiters that you are open to work. Now, there's two ways that you can click that box. You can click that box that says that you want to be unanimous in the sense that you want recruiters to know that you're open to work, or many of you have seen what I call that green wreath around your head. You can check that box and it says to everybody that looks in LinkedIn that you're open to work. And it's a visual for people. We have company connections, and then they're more likely to respond. I think this is one of the most important buttons because I want you to remember, everybody on this call, that LinkedIn tracks you. So if you don't reply to messages, they tell me as a recruiter, when I'm checking and looking at your profile, whether you're more likely to reply or less likely to reply to my message. And depending on how fast I want to fill that job and depending on what I'm trying to accomplish, that may be really, really important because I don't have a lot of time and I may not send notes to people that are less likely to reply to me. But just a keynote for yourselves, make sure that you reply to every message. You don't have to, if it's something you're not interested in, you don't have to send a long note that says, la, 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 la. You can just say, thanks, I'm not interested. If it's something that maybe you think you've got a friend that might be interested in, you could say, I'll try to connect you with some friends or business contacts. But my point is, you don't have to go into a long dissertation. It can be just no thanks, and that's all it requires. You hit the send button, and you're more likely to reply.
Two questions. Is that linked to the SSI number, your social selling index number, or do you know?
I don't know that.
Okay. And then the other question was, when you talked about open to work, how do you feel about the green banner around somebody?
I'm not opposed to it. I mean, as a recruiter, my job is to fill a big funnel and then move candidates through that funnel and identify the best candidates. And ultimately you get to one the company hires. And so in today's environment, and I just wrote an article about this, Jeff, I think that, there are, unless you are open to work and you're still working, then you may not want to put that banner on. Meaning that you've got a job, you're gainfully employed, but you are passively looking for new opportunities, then you may not want to show the world that you're looking for a new opportunity.
And, in Kurt's case, he can always find you because he can find everybody. But if he's not, if there were other recruiting firms that don't pay for the recruiting package,
right?
And so they would not know you're open to work if you didn't have that on there. So, and also you tell your friends and family and anybody else, your acquaintances, that you're open to work, because you never know who be able to go, hey, I like working with you in the past. I want to work with you in the future. That's
right. That's absolutely right. And we talked about that in the networking seminar, and I encourage you to get online if you haven't seen that presentation. There's, again, 4 or 5 great people that are presenting about networking, and activating your network is absolutely critical. But Jeff, right to that same point, I used to, when I was, working and became unemployed, and I've been through that cycle many times, everybody. It's not something that I've never witnessed or experienced. When I was going to go network with somebody, I might meet somebody at let's say have a drink at 5:30 in the afternoon. I'd get to that location at 5 o'clock, and I'd sit there and I'd start to have a conversation with the bartender, and I might talk a little louder than I normally did, because maybe somebody else that's sitting at the bar might pick up on my conversation. Or when I went to the grocery store, and I used to go to the grocery store just about every day, because when you're working, you can't do that. And when you don't have anything else to do, to get away and go to the grocery store is not a bad event anyway. But I would go to the grocery store and I'd stand in line, and I'd always try to create a conversation with somebody. Now in COVID, it's a little more difficult. People don't want to talk to people, but I would try to start a conversation. And I would tell you 4 out of 5 times I came home with some woman or somebody's business card that my husband's a recruiter, or my husband runs a company and he's somebody you should talk to. And it always works. So telling people that you're looking for a job is not a bad thing if you're actively looking, meaning you're unemployed. Tell everybody everybody you go to church with, everybody that plays soccer on your kids' soccer teams, you don't know what you don't know, and you want everybody to know in case they've got something that may be of interest to you. So use it as an opportunity to talk about yourself. And it's not like it was back in the 50s when my dad became unemployed and it was table talk. Nobody wanted to know. You weren't allowed to tell anybody that your dad was unemployed, because that wasn't cool. So it's a little bit different today, quite a bit different, a lot different. So don't hesitate to tell people that you're looking for a new job. So in this particular case, I'm going to look for people that are open to work, and I want to look at people that are more likely to reply to my message. These other 2 things I'm not as interested in. The job search that I'm going to be looking for is going to be a controller. Okay, so I'll put in a financial controller. I might put in a division controller. I might put in an assistant corporate controller. You can see how my numbers are starting to grow in a city yet. So I'm at 120,000 people that have this background. Cost accounting manager, because the company is really interested in cost accounting. I don't care if it's current or past, but now it's important. I'm going to put in Fort Worth. And let's see. There it is, Fort Worth, Texas. Okay. And I could put in DFW, but right now I'm just going to see what the network looks like. So there's only 58 people in that market right now that have what I'm looking for. So I might just go ahead and just start the search right there just to see. I got to move my picture out of the way. I hit search up here. And you may know some of these people. I don't know. I guess I could have run this in Birmingham, Alabama, and nobody know anybody. But so here you go. I got 84 results. You can see that Mike is, he's open to work. Here's that green banner, okay? He's, and when I do this really quick because I do this all day long. And so I start with my funnel pretty full, but I'm looking for keywords, okay? Now I haven't put a lot of keywords in here, but I can go down here and go into keywords. And let's just say, because I talked to the company today, that I want somebody that is definitely, I'm following my notes here, is really caught. I'm going to start a Boolean. So I'm going to go cost and accounting. Okay, so I was at 84, but now I'm at 50. And these are people that you're going to see when I pull up Mathis here. You're going to see in his background where he has probably got and highlighted some of the things I'm looking for. So as an intern, he was responsibilities for management accounting, cost accounting, implementation of cost analyzing, achievements, implements, activity-based costing, customized cost analysis method. Now, granted, y'all, this is a long time ago. He only did it for 2 months, but it was a long time ago, and he was an intern, okay? So, but if you look at his background, he's got all kinds of opportunities to talk about the things that he's done. Certainly, he's fluent in 3 languages. That's really maybe important. It's not for this particular role. He's a senior finance analyst, but he's given me some bullets, but it's not really as robust as it could be. And I'm going to share with you what maybe the next guy looks like, and it might be even better or worse, but you'll see how. So here's Cindy. She's a dynamic accounting professional, lots of accounting. Remember, I had accounting and cost accounting in there. So I'm getting accounting policies. I'm looking at it real quick. Imperial Construction. This organization is in the aviation space. So, hey, not too bad. Real quick glance. I'm gonna save her to a project, but I have to create a new project. So here I just create a new project is a controller. Fort Worth, and I say save and continue. Okay. So now she is in my project and I can go back and look at Cindy as I go. But as a recruiter, I'm moving through these. And sometimes I don't even like to look at these summaries. I prefer to look at this summary. I can look at James real quickly. Finance, IT, project manager, 12 years related titles in your search. Doesn't tell me anything. Probably not interested in James. What I see here it's not bad, but this 12 years of experience related to titles in your search, a little crazy. It's okay. Now this is something this is a new, they do this new, all this stuff comes in new all the time. Because I put in, I was looking for accounting and keywords, like cost and accounting. They're telling me, so James has got 12 years of related experience in the area so that's new. This is new, guys. Sorry, you caught me on a day that they're throwing new stuff at us all the time. So oil and gas, Weir Group, oil and gas shared services, cost accounting. He's been with one company. Now, again, I get a lot of these kinds of questions, but he's been with Weir Oil and Gas it looks like the same company, but it's probably not. Let's see the Weir. I can go here. I can look at what they do. So it pulls up and shows what that Weir group is. It shows me candidates that have worked for that. So here's what we are: thoughtful operating channels, safety, efficiency. Okay. I can visit their website about people highlights. There's 5 people. These are people that still work in Dallas. Okay. So there's a lot of functionality within. I'm going to go back. I'm going to close this out here. Let's move this bar down. I'm going to go over here and close that out. And then I should be back to my friend James's profile. And again, I can save a project. I can send them an in-mail. I can create a template, okay, for different jobs that I've got, organizations, or I can create a new template, okay? I can save them to a project, put them in a project, or I can create a new project, okay? So lots of functionality, but the key that I want everybody to take away from this as we look at more and more of these profiles is the difference between how people have written their profile and what would stand out as to a recruiter. If you were searching to fill this job, what do you see in some of these profiles that you like? Drive cost improvement initiatives. Okay. So I've got some things to talk to this guy about. He came out of Alon Motorola Mobility. He's been at Alcon for a long time. Not really in the aviation space, but when I start these conversations out, Jeff, similar to what you tell candidates, and we tell candidates to try to talk to as many people as they can and open up their network, Sam may not be the right fit for this role, and we'd know that pretty quickly, but he may know somebody that I should know. Maybe he works with somebody that recently left the aviation industry and is a cost accountant and has that experience of being a controller or could be a CFO if that were the case. So I don't ever hesitate, and recruiters don't hesitate to build their network by not only communicating with those people on LinkedIn, but people that maybe we wouldn't know. I talked to a guy yesterday for a role that I'm searching for in Dallas, a chief operating officer for a beverage company. And I talked to a guy, and he threw me 4 names of people that I didn't know. And they hadn't shown up in my search anywhere. So don't, we also, we're telling you to cast your umbrella and tell everybody that you're looking for a job. And when we're searching, we're working with candidates that are passive, active, and in between. And we're always asking them that maybe this isn't a fit for you, but maybe there's somebody that you know in your industry that you would think would be a good fit. Okay. Now, let's just for grins go back here, because when you pull up Sam, you can see his pharmaceuticals, oil and energy, telecommunications. Okay. So let's just for grins, because I started out big, but I can go here and just out of fun, I can put in aviation. Airlines and aviation, okay? Now, let's see where it goes. I may have 0 in there now. Oh, no, I got 3 results. So Marvin and James all come out of the aviation industry in some place, in some way. And so you can see where if I was doing this search and I had to put all that stuff in there and all I had put in was aviation, I'd be looking for a long time. This company's maybe not going to find somebody that comes directly out of aviation. And to be honest with you, for a controller or a CFO role, having aviation experience and what this organization does is really not critical. But the cost accounting is, and we all know that cost accounting crosses multiple function in multiple industries and job types of organizations. So it would, some recruiters might start with that, putting that aviation in there, and then determining whether any of these candidates were the right fit, and then broadening their scope. But I have a tendency to start big and not put all the data points in here, and try to keep it a little bit more open so that I can look at a broader base of experience. I can look at 84 candidates, and then I'll make the determination whether or not those candidates have the type of experience that we're looking for, and that they can, based on their LinkedIn profile, do I want to have a 15-minute conversation with Elise, okay? And that's all I'm trying to do. Just like you're trying to create conversations, I'm also trying to create conversations. Any other questions?
Well, I think, yeah, a couple questions, but I think a key point here is, if you noticed when he was doing the searches and he had a keyword in there, the number of times accounting popped up, the amount of times cost popped up, making sure that your LinkedIn profile is full of keywords that you want to be found by is very, very, very important.
Yep. And on that point, Jeff, let's stop there, because I think it's a really good point, is that keywords are absolutely critical. And there's all kinds of places that you can put those keywords in. You can put them in, if we look at Larry, we can put in, we can put keywords in our header. You can see here, look at all the keywords that he's dropped into his profile. Quite a bit of information here, and a lot of different keywords that might pop up in somebody's search. Really, really positive. Now here he's kind of dropped off, so he has the opportunity to put a lot of data like he did down under PVI, okay? But he's not taken the opportunity to do that. So he's in my search, but he's not at the top of my search. And he could be if he were to buff this up and add some more keywords. So one of the things I encourage candidates to do is to literally take a page out of your notebook, or start a page in the back of your notebook, and start making a list of all the keywords that describe what you've done and how you've been, what you've done in your job over the years. Okay. And then I encourage you to keep that list vibrant by looking at job briefs. When you're looking at a job brief and you're looking at what you could, a company that you might go work for, there may be keywords in there, or things that are triggers as well. Oh my gosh, it's got route settlement in there. I've done route settlement. It was back in 1982 and 83 when I was at Pepsi. But maybe that should be in my LinkedIn profile, because maybe that would be a word that other companies would be looking for me, and it could be an opportunity to open up a conversation. So use job descriptions, use job ads. When you go to meetings and you hear other people talking about their keywords, listen to what they've done and how they've done it, and pull those words out. But you can't put enough keywords into your LinkedIn profile.
All right, David asks, how often do you search? Because one of the options when you put in location, instead of putting in Fort Worth, was open to relocate.
Well, it all depends on the company, really, and their willingness to relocate somebody. Most recruiters, and not all, but most recruiters will, when they're talking to a company, so I'm working with this company in Dallas. I'm looking for a chief operating officer. I told you it was a beverage company. And as I started the search, I told the CEO of the company that I felt fairly confident that we'd be able to find that executive in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we would not have to relocate somebody. So those are big words, and I don't know if we'll be able to live by that or not. But what we're doing is we're really digging deep into the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex to see if that candidate exists. Now, we have started to open it up to Texas, but it's very expensive to relocate people. And even if the candidate says, I'm willing to accept all of the relocation expenses, I don't know that. And it's probably something you don't want to advertise up front. But maybe what you do is, if you wanted to move to Dallas and you lived in Akron, Ohio, maybe what you do for a while is you change your profile to show that you lived in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Okay. Christina asked, I see similar profiles that if we turn this feature off, is it off in the screen for recruiters view? So, I mean, when you view somebody's profile, can you just pop on somebody's profile right here?
Yep.
Because one of the things that we tell, right, similar profiles. So, yeah, but see, we're not looking, he's not looking at this person like we look at it. Kurt's looking at this from, a higher level from a recruiting package.
Right.
So he's going to see similar profiles where even if we have that turned off, because we recommend that people turn that feature off so you're not promoting other people, Kurt's still going to see what LinkedIn recruiting package wants to show him.
Right. So but that's a good example. And I was not aware. I mean, I didn't even know you could turn off that you could be compared to other people. And I'm not necessarily, I don't have an opinion on if that's a good idea or a bad idea. I'll be honest with you. I've never thought of it as a recruiter. So if I think that my network is getting small and I'm not finding enough people, then I would go through where I built a project and I might have 80 people in it. I might go through every one of those 80 people and just look at their profiles to see in this similar section over here, if there is anybody that would be of interest. Okay. And so in this particular case, I told you that this controller role, I think this role we can fill in the local area. I don't think we've got to relocate somebody. So if I was doing that, I'd look through these similar profiles and I'd go so quick, boom, I see nobody in Dallas. I'm not interested, okay? Because I'm not going to relocate somebody here. But where I maybe go to the next person and maybe Dan, again, here you look. And this is interesting because this is one of the things that bugs me about LinkedIn personally is here it is, Houston, Odessa. There's one Dallas. But I don't know why they go so far out their network to find people, because I got to believe that there's other people in the Dallas Fort Worth area that are similar to Dan Peterson or Patterson but maybe not. I don't know. I don't know how their analytics internally run. Here's something though interesting, and this is something that I want to point out to everybody. Here you look at Dan. Leadership, financial officer, tells you what he's done, kind of nice summary, MBA. Some of this could have been in some other places, but that's okay. But look at what he's done here. He's given me his contact information, his email address, and his phone number. When a candidate does that, they move to the top of the heap, because if I want to talk to Dan, I don't have to go up here and send him an in-mail, where I go up here and click that box, send him an in-mail. I can go directly down here, and I would much prefer to grab his email address, copy it, put it into an email, send him a note. Hey, I found you on LinkedIn. I'd like to have a conversation. We just saved ourselves a whole bunch of time in having to go back and forth in LinkedIn. So if you're not doing this, putting your personal contact information in LinkedIn, your email address and your phone number, you're missing out on a big opportunity.
So here he's put it into his summary statement, but it doesn't look like he put it into his contact information, because when you scroll to the very top, there was a place there for a phone number and there was nothing listed there. So
I would rather have it here than anywhere else. Right in the summary is the best place to put it. Because as recruiters, we don't always make it to the bottom, okay? But if it's an easy hit, and I know that Dan's going to check his email, he may not be a fit, but I want to get into his network. For me to scroll all the way down here and find out Dan's profile and his information and contact.
No, it's up at the very, very top, right under his picture.
Right.
There's no email address or there's no phone number listed here. He didn't list one up in his contact information. I think.
Correct. Up here. Yes.
At the very, very top. Yes.
Correct. Yes.
So he did half a job.
Yeah.
He put in a summary, but he didn't fill out his contact information.
That's right.
Be sure to do that in both, everybody.
But this is where recruiters like to see it right here, because as we scroll, we just go right through here. And when we see they've given us their contact information, we stop, we grab, we send a note immediately. And we try to get out of LinkedIn. Every search I do, I want to get out of LinkedIn as quickly as I can, and I want to start having conversations with candidates. So continue to communicate through InMail in LinkedIn is a pain in the butt for a recruiter. We would much rather go right to email. Any other questions on that subject?
No other questions so far.
Okay. You know, there are just so many things that we can look for. You know, again, here you see so many candidates that give us just a little bit about what they did in a short period of time. And they don't give us a lot of dialogue. Now, the other thing, I'm going to pick on this gal, and I don't mean to, Erica, she's probably a brilliant woman and has done really well in life and so forth. But when a recruiter looks at this, okay, I'm looking at this snapshot right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs, and every job's been a year, and that's it. Okay. That is a red flag. I'm sorry, y'all, but that is a red flag to recruiters. And it doesn't mean that we're going to rule you out, but maybe what Erica could have done, and I don't want her to lie about what she's done, but maybe a couple of these jobs were contract jobs. And that would be the place to put it, as project manager / contractor. When I see that and I see 5 jobs in a year, it's not as much of a red flag that this person is not going to stick with the job for longer than a year. Okay. So don't hesitate if you have moved around a lot and you don't want to show that. You've got 2 options. This is not a legal document, so it's not like an application. When you fill out an application, y'all, you cannot lie. You cannot make up anything. If your title was district manager, but on LinkedIn you're calling yourself a divisional manager, on the resume or on the application, you better use the proper name of the job that you had versus the other job, because companies do have a tendency occasionally to go back and do a check against all the jobs that you've had and titles and so forth, and that can be a flaw. So in LinkedIn, if you only were a district manager for 11 months, you might decide to leave that out of your profile and use that as a time to communicate that you were in transition, or you were doing a job search, or you did a consulting job somewhere. But where candidates do show that they've had a lot of jobs in a short period of time, their recruiters do look at that and they weigh it in on their quick assessment. Again, Jeff, if I was doing this particular search right now, I could look in an hour, I could go through these 84 and select 20 people that I wanted to talk to. I'd send in-mails to them. I'd send messages to the ones I could, emails. And then I put the project away for about 8 hours. And I come back and I see who's replied to me, who's responded, because that's where I got to get out of LinkedIn, and I got to start talking to people as quickly as I can.
Anybody have questions? We've got about 10 minutes left. If anybody's got any questions they'd like to ask, please let us know. So somebody here asked, hi, if I don't have a current job, how do we create a current position on our profile? So
Great. Yeah. Great question. So if you don't have a current job and you've been out of work for a year, but you've been doing a lot of different things, you've been volunteering, you've been doing this, then you can create a job that's, that is a consultant, and you have done, and you put in that job, the different things that you've done, and you use the keywords as you would, as if you had that particular job, but make sure you list it as a contract job and not as a full-time job.
The other thing that we recommend is if you haven't done any community engagement or however you want to term it, is that you put down the job title you're looking for your current job. For the company name, put down the phone number and email address, and then list 3 or 4 bullet points of what it is you do at that job title that you have listed in the top of it. And that becomes your current job, and it tells people you're looking for work at that point. You're making it easy.
The key is that, you know, again, is that this is an advanced tool for recruiters. Most of you haven't seen the visibility behind the scenes, so this hopefully gives you a little bit of an engagement of what it looks like and what recruiters are looking at every day. There probably are, you know, more and more recruiters are using this product. It's become very, very popular. And again, I think it's most important for you just to see the, you know, how a recruiter moves through and uses the information to manage their searches and to manage the conversations that they're starting. So, you know, now I also encourage you, everyone on the call, that when you do get a call from a recruiter, you know, maybe it's a great time after you've gotten to know them a little bit is to hit the pause button and to say, hey, do you have a minute? You found me on LinkedIn. Can you tell me what was attractive about my profile, or why did you, you know, what was so important that you wanted to have a conversation with me? And you may gain some additional learning from other recruiters that are using this product or just using the LinkedIn product about some of the things that they're looking for. And you may gain some additional tools that maybe myself or other people that are teaching or providing information about about LinkedIn may be able to offer you. So I highly encourage you to, you know, ask questions about, hey, how'd you find me? And what was intriguing about my background? And, you know, and maybe sometimes they'll just say, yeah, you just had the background that we were looking for. Or I wanted to talk to you because you worked for Dr. Pepper Snapple. There could be any number of hundreds of reasons, but not a bad question to ask your recruiters.
Jim asked, he says, I'm paying $30 a month for my LinkedIn membership. Is it worth it?
You know, that's a great question. I used to recommend to people that they don't use the paid version, but I hear more and more people. I've got recruiting friends of mine that are in the business that use the paid version and they don't even use the recruiter product. So, so that's a really good question. I think that, you know, if you can afford the extra product, the $30 a month, it's not hurting you too badly. You're probably going to get a lot more out of it than the free version for sure.
I mean, I think the number one, you get more in-mails, you get more searches. And the third thing that could be very important is you get to see who's viewed your profile. Now, you won't get to see anybody who's using the full-blown recruiting package.
Right.
But if any of your colleagues or any friends look you up, you'll see that, oh, so-and-so just looked at my profile. Oh, maybe I ought to reach out to them.
Yep, absolutely. And you should be doing that every week as part of your cleanup routine as far as closing your books out for the week. That should be one of your exercises. You could do it Monday morning for the prior week, or you can do it Friday for the week before. But looking at everybody and sending them notes is just a great way to reacquaint with people. And if you've actually got a personal email address for them and they checked out your profile, even better, send them an email. Hey, I was on LinkedIn and saw you were looking at my background. Probably just a coincidence, but we haven't talked in a while. I'd love to catch up. How are you and your family doing? See if you can't get a 12-minute conversation with somebody. And who knows, they may have been looking at it for a reason that they forgot about. They were on the phone with somebody and their friend had said, you know, do you know anybody that does X, Y, Z? And they go into LinkedIn and they go, well, let me look for a second here. And they check on your box and they look at your profile and they're like, yeah, I do. I'll get back to sending Rhonda a note later, and they forget. So, you know, you've got to pull out all the plugs on your job search and figure out the most creative ways that you can talk to anybody. Anybody that's looking at your profile is certainly a great contact for you to have.
Right. Christina, you asked two different questions here. And I think that the first question is better for the interview session we're having tomorrow. So I'd wait and ask that tomorrow. And the second question is a personal, you have to make a decision on the answer there. I just want to leave it at that. Bill asked, occasionally a recruiter contacts me about an open job. I send a response and then I never hear back.
Yeah, well, when a recruiter sends you a message, you want to, more so than they want to, is to start a conversation. So my recommendation is when you send a reply back to a recruiter, they say, my messages to candidates are generally about 225 words. I try to give them a brief overview of what we're looking for. But I am dating, I am teasing candidates. I am doing everything I can to engage them in a conversation. So the best thing that a candidate can do in a reply to a recruiter is, that sounds really interesting. When can we talk? My contact information is 214-699-na-na-na-na-na, and my email address, and you put both of them in there. I look forward to talking to you, Sally, real soon.
You have to be excited. You have to make them, yes, be excited.
Exactly. And don't go into, they say we're looking for this and this and this and this. Don't give them 20 minutes of email or in a LinkedIn message back about, I've done this and I've done that. It's just, remember when we're using LinkedIn Recruiter, we are in the jobs, we are in the what we call the research mode. So we are researching and looking for candidates. We are trying to build that funnel. We're trying to build that base of people that could be potential candidates for that job. And so don't give a recruiter a reason not to call you, but instead give them your contact information and just say, gosh, that sounds really, it's a great opportunity. I feel confident I've done many of the things you're looking for. My contact information is do.
You want to get that phone call.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Rhonda says, if I begin working part-time with a firm for approximately 4 months, not as a contractor, and the job may or may not become full-time, how should they list it? What should you do on your LinkedIn profile?
I think you put in that you're doing that job and it's part-time. You just put, instead of it being a full-time job, you just put, office manager part-time. Or I'm thinking about it. It's part-time. It's not a full-time job. They're not giving you benefits. Why don't you just put in contract? Even though it's not a contract, it might be a full-time, part-time job, but put in contract, because that just, to recruiters, that's a more powerful word.
Contract. Okay. John asked, can we contact you on LinkedIn?
Absolutely.
Please send a personal note, though. Tell them that you met. Always send a personal note when you connect with anybody on LinkedIn. So, send that personal note. That would be appreciated. Yep. All right. 2 or 3 key things that you want us to take away from today's presentation.
Well, one is keywords, the importance of developing that list and maintaining an active list of keywords. Give recruiters your personal contact information. Don't look at LinkedIn as it's, check the box. I've got a resume. I got my LinkedIn profile. Your LinkedIn profile is a moving, actionable product. You can continue to update it. It's super easy to do. LinkedIn doesn't send messages to everybody that you know saying that you've updated your profile anymore. So make sure that you continually to do that. Make sure you put in, I'm not going to pick on anybody that we looked at some profiles. I'm not going to pick on any pictures and all that, but make sure you've got a recent picture in there. I hate to see pictures, and I know it's really silly, but I just this search I'm working on for a COO the other day, there's a picture of somebody, I don't know which one it is. It's Jamie, and it's he and his wife. Well, Jamie can be a girl or a boy. So I don't know if I'm looking at Jamie, the wife, or am I looking at Jamie, the guy? So take the double pictures out of there, put a really good picture in there. You can take it with your iPhone or have somebody take it. If it's a female, just a blouse or a jacket, headshot. Guys, white shirt, sport coat, tie if you want, but make sure you got a professional picture in there.
Well, Kurt, thank you very much. Great information. I really, really appreciate your time today. And I hope everybody has picked out one or two things that they're going to go and fix on their profile this week.
Good.
Next week, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She's going to talk about LinkedIn search engine optimization. So how to manipulate how to fix your LinkedIn profile so it'll be easier for Kurt to find you. So that'll be next Tuesday with us. All right, I need everybody out there to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer or iPad or any other electronic device. Very, very, very important. So you're welcome to link. Listen, I had 3 people try to link in with me this morning. There was no personal note. I just hit ignore because I don't know why we should connect. You got to tell somebody why you should connect. Even if you know them really well, send them a note.
Good advice.
All right, LinkedIn offers a year of LinkedIn Premium for any military or veterans. You can go to veterans.linkedin.com. And LinkedIn Career Explorer is a great way to take your skills and see what other jobs may be out there for that. I'm going to put in the chat box right now links to the things I just talked about. So you'll be able to copy those out of that profile there. But it's a great way. LinkedIn, it's a great little tool they started up last summer. Please be sure to join us. Join Career DFW and Career USA each week. We're putting on training 5 days a week now. Tomorrow, Wednesday, for Interviewing Wednesdays, it will be session number 12. We'll be talking about difficult interviewers and difficult questions and how to cultivate confidence when you're doing an interview. So that's tomorrow at 1 o'clock. On Thursday, for our Effective Resume Thursdays, we'll have resume tips and tricks. And you have an opportunity to win a free month's use of jobscan.co. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, we have an outstanding speaker, Jay Fusero. He's going to talk about effective networking. He wrote a book several years ago, and there's not one page in that book that I disagree with from the career standpoint of what you need to do. He's very methodical. He's actually a former CFO. So he's very analytical in what he does, step by step by step. So it'll be a really good presentation on Friday. Next Monday, Kurt was a speaker a couple of weeks ago for our Networking Mondays. But we're going to talk about this week. Our speaker is Bob Marher. He's going to talk about taking the chill out of making that cold call. So, it's always hard to call reluctance, not wanting to call somebody. But that's what we'll talk about this coming Monday on our Networking Monday seminar. If you have not joined the Career USA and Career DFW LinkedIn groups, we do have groups that you can expand your members with or expand your connections. The Career DFW group has over 12,900 members. We're probably about 15 or 20 people away from 13,000. So one of you could be lucky number 13,000. So you're welcome to join one or both of them. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. You'll be able to view it on either place. It'll be up on the YouTube channel in a couple hours. It takes YouTube 2 or 3 hours usually to get things uploaded. Please follow us on Facebook. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. When you do that, every time we post a new video, you'll get an alert that we've posted something new. Here's what the Career USA YouTube channel looks like. Make sure you clicked on playlist where the green arrow is. And then at the very bottom, don't click on the video, but click where it says view full playlist, the red arrow for whatever topic you want. And when you do that, up will come a list of, the date and who the speaker, the last time that speaker talked, and you'll be able to go back and see those presentations. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, we're putting on workshops, like I said, 5 days a week now. Please, you can join the Career USA mailing list. You'll get 6 or 7 emails a week. You don't get blasted with any spam. I'm the only one who controls the email list. But you can send an email to Career USA, the +, subscribe at groups.io. And I'll put that email address up here at the very end so you can capture it if you'd like. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. All of our speakers, including Kurt, says he's volunteering. I'm a volunteer. I've never gotten paid to do any of this over the last 12 years, 13 years. I just do this as my little charity to give back to the community. We survive on donations. It pays for our Zoom license. It pays for web names. It pays for the web hosting, things we have to pay, things we can't get donated that we have to pay for. Please consider when you get your next great opportunity to make a donation so we can continue to provide the services that we're doing. So thank you for joining us today. Kurt, thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah.
And there's that email address if you'd like to join our email distribution list. And if you need to, please copy the chat box so you can get all those emails or the addresses that we talked about in the that you can copy over. So Kurt, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.